Hello, everybody. We are back again. Welcome to All for Women's Football. It's an absolute pleasure to have you along. I feel like I've done 2 shows already, and that's because I actually have, but you won't see the other one until Wednesday. We did so well a fortnight ago, finding out all about Scotland, that we thought, why not give you that long-awaited introduction with the Serie A Femminile starting just this weekend gone? Why not focus on that? So I went out, find myself a few people who know what they're talking about when it comes to Serie A, and they are going to educate me and they're going to educate you. So let's not muck about. Let's get straight into it. Buongiorno, I think that's the word. That's probably about the only one that I know, along with C, and I think that's just about going to get me through today. But welcome. Lovely to have you all with us, and I'm very much looking forward to this. Connor is joining us already on a walk, so that's lovely, amazing, well done, lovely. Can't wait. You can't wait either to find out about what's going on. So here's the question. Freya, we know you. So 2 questions for you, really. Number 1, how the devil are you? And number 2, how have you ended up on a show about the Serie A? Tell us all about it.
Well, hello. Thank you to be back. I know I've done myself a bit dirty this week. I'm doing 4 podcasts, so I'm sorry if everyone's sick of my face by the end of this week. But hello, everyone. Yeah, back again. And I'm here because I know the lovely Camilla, and she got me more into Serie A than I was previously. And yeah, I've just got addicted to it. I absolutely love it. So yeah, can't wait for a little chat tonight.
Excellent. I'm very pleased because that automatically puts you miles ahead of me in terms of knowledge for that. Hence why we came to you. And whilst we were talking to Freya, we said, who else would you know who might be the font of all knowledge? And we found her. We dug her out from her social media work over in the Serie C, and here she is. So Camilla, lovely to have you with us. How about you just give us a big hello and sort of let us know what you do in women's football and why you love the Serie A?
Well, why I love the Serie A is basically why I love football, because since I started to follow women football, actually since the day they actually gave us the chance to do it, because Serie A is shown on national television since the year before the France 2019 World Cup. So it's basically 6 years that we are able to watch it. And it wasn't all the games in the beginning. It was just 1 game per week. So from the day that I was able to watch it, I started to follow less and less the men game, and more the women game, because I don't want to use any stereotypes, but like in general, I found that it has more the core values of sport compared to the men game. So that's why I can't be without women football anymore. And what I do, I am doing the opposite, the order that you asked. But what I do in women football, basically, I have my own YouTube channel, which is in pause at the moment, and I am focusing more on this task that you were mentioning with this team in the Serie C is called Nitor, and I just started honestly to take care of their social media page and press office and all the communication tasks, because of course is a very small team, and is one of those dimension where people do several jobs, several tasks. So I honestly like it to have this different side of the communication to take care of. But well, of course, it's not easy. I mean, as you were saying, Serie A is basically very similar to the Scottish League, which I don't follow personally, but I just know the structure, and I know that is very, very similar. We have 10 teams at the moment, but it's going to be 12 next season. And so we are going to have only one relegation and 3 promotions from Serie B this season. We still don't know if from next season we are still going to have the split in the championship and the relegation, playoff and play out after the regular season ends. We still don't know if it's going to be there next season as well. But I think is very important for this expansion to happen now, but also to happen with a plan in mind, because the problem was I hear noises. I don't know if it's just me.
It's fine. Don't worry.
Okay. The professionalism just arrived 3 seasons ago, or 3 seasons ago. Yeah, the season of the Euros, the summer of the Euros. So this is the 3rd season that only Serie A is a professional league. From Serie B and down are all amateur. So it was important, of course, to introduce professionalism, but is a common idea in the Italian women football follower that it might have happened a little bit too fast without having an actual plan for it to be sustainable. Because the problem is that there isn't a structure that allows team to also have a source of income. At the moment, it's just expenses, and we have these 10 teams that are in Serie A. Only 2 are completely independent from men team. The other 8 are all connected to men team, and even they are struggling because they invest, but they invest just a small amount compared to all the money that they have available, because there isn't a source of income. It's just an investment for them at the moment. So I always say that women football in general, for actually be able to grow, should be considered like a startup. So it should be considered for at least a few years it not to have any income, but there should be a plan. You can't just expect for it to grow by itself during the years. So this is the main problem at the moment in Italy with women football, is sustainability. And of course, from some in Serie A there are TV broadcast rights that are sold, but the honestly is not that much. They receive something from the broadcast, but is really just a small amount. Yeah. From Serie B down, there are no TV rights, so of course the only source of money for the team basically is a sponsor. And I am seeing it on my own skin. It's not easy at all for in a small town where I'm from and where the team I'm working for is from, is a small town in the south of Italy. It's called Brindisi. It's like 100,000 people. It's not a very big town. So in the south, I mean, the mentality is not that open for the people to be able to see in women football something that has a future. So it's really, really complicated to find sponsor as well.
Brindisi, would that be in the boot or would that be in the heel?
In the booth.
In the booth. How I know Italy. So there we go. Well done, Camilla. You've taken out about 7 of my questions that we had there. So it's been a great show. Thank you everyone for joining us. Brilliant. Absolutely superb. And like I said, font of all knowledge. She's just knows everything. Which
Why I
is
brought her on.
but Freya, we're going to pop over to you because obviously Camilla mentioned about the Scottish Premier League as well, the Women's Premier League there. We did a show about that a couple of weeks, so you'll be a little bit more familiar with it being just next door to us. But I was really surprised at just how similar the setup actually is, because obviously at the moment, as we said, 10 teams in the Serie A, and the top 5 take part in the championship round, and this is where I get to butcher another language, do the Pule Scudetto.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
we'll say that. And the bottom 5 obviously take part in the relegation round. But just like Scotland, which has decided that's going to expand its league as well, Italy have chosen to do the exact same thing here in this season. So there'll be no relegation playoff like there usually is. The bottom team will be relegated. The team just above would obviously play off with the team who finishes second in the Serie B. That's not happening this year. There's just going to be 3 teams promoted from Serie B. Always 3 teams demoted and relegated from the Serie B. Very interesting point for anybody that's interested. There's 3 levels for the Italian league, which I think is quite cool. But the question really for me on this one is how you feel, because Laura and I never really knew too much about the split. We've never sat there and thought about it in England, but we've often thought about how we get more football in England for the domestic league games. You know, it's not about all these other international friendlies and things like that. Could you see a split like this happening in places like, even if not maybe the WSL, maybe in the Championship and some of the regional leagues, in order to try and get more football across the pyramid? Because the more I hear about this and the more I look at it and the more I watch it, it actually sounds like a really good idea and a sensible one in terms of trying to, like I say, provide more football for people to watch, whilst also making sure it's competitive, because it's the top half of the table against the top half of the table. So therefore, each game there is likely to have a little bit more on it.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I don't know if I like it. because right, I have got support here. If we've seen if you look at the WSL, for example, and the same in Serie A as well, the top half of the table and the bottom half, the gap is massive. If you keep doing the top teams against the top teams and the bottom teams against the bottom teams, how are you going to grow and develop when you want to compete with the teams in and around you, but you need to keep getting that access to the top teams to keep promoting your skills, right? Because if you're not stretched and you're not pushed, then maybe, yes, that fire's still there. Of course it is. You're a professional athlete. But if say, like, if it was just Arsenal, Chelsea, City, United, if it was just those 4 again and again and again, would you not get bored? And I see Camilla nodding. And that's the thing. You want more opportunities for different teams to play each other. You want the unknown. You want to be able to show off different skills, different formations. If you know United, for example, are going to set up in a particular way, you're only going to learn how to do one thing, and and that's it. And you're going to do it about 6 times, because that round robin just goes again and again. Thank you, Jonathan. And yeah, I don't get it. I get they need to do like the champions maybe to see at the top, but at the bottom, yeah, it just feels like going around in circles. So I'm not a fan. Sorry, Barry, I'm not a fan.
Me neither.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you both. Absolutely.
We'll go now, shall we? Well,
it sounded so good with Scotland. I don't know. You say, would you not get bored? But then, I don't know. It's a bit more jeopardy, isn't it? You know, if you've got an end of the season match, Chelsea against Brighton, you're expecting Chelsea to go and beat Brighton. But if you've got Chelsea against Manchester City or Chelsea against Arsenal, there's much more chance. I mean, obviously not Chelsea against Manchester United, because they'll just get bopped on the last day of the season. But generally, you know, I don't know. I think there's positives and negatives within it all. But clearly, the consensus in the room today is that it's not very good. So I shan't continue flogging that particular horse. I'm sorry. It's the first one that came to mind, and I forgot you were there. All right. Juventus 360, lovely to have you here. I mean, good luck. I'll try and speak as little as possible. Freya speaks a much better brand of English than me. Good
I'll
luck.
go slow as well. It's okay.
I'm
Subtitles.
also trying to understand everything.
I shall try. I could try and put on my telephone voice. We'll see how we go. So maybe we'll do that. Okay. And exactly this, Emma. That's exactly what I was getting at with it. The only good thing from it is you might not get a regular title winning team. Although when we start talking about top teams that win that, the last 7 years of the Serie A is not necessarily going to back that up. But let's back it up big time. I don't know how far back you go in terms of your knowledge and your history, Camilla, but I'm going to try and test it and see what you do know. Because I guarantee you it's going to be more than me. I tried looking back at the history of the Serie A. Now, as you said, they're only on fully pro since the 22-23 season, so it's only their third season. The salary cap was removed. They're going to get paid a higher wage now. They have the ability to do that. But the Serie A, as it stands, was initially put together in 1968. That's when football in Italy was established at the highest level there for the ladies. And the Italian Football Federation took over in 2018. So in about 6 seasons of having those guys in. They immediately took it from 12 teams to 10. And it's taken them 6 years to realise that might have been a mistake. So they're going to change it back now from 10 to 12. But fair play to them. What I did notice when trying to look back at the history is that there was 2 leagues effectively. So there was lots of little leagues, I think, back in 1968. So can you give us just like a little bit of an idea as to what football was like prior to 2018 and how you think Italian football has grown over the course of the last few decades?
To be honest, before 2018, I just read a little bit about it, not as much as I would have liked, but I haven't planned to do it. But the thing is that, as I was mentioning, I started to really follow it since 2018 because it was when it was broadcasted on television for the first time. It's not that you couldn't follow it before, but it was not easy if you didn't live in cities next to teams that were playing Serie A or Serie B. Of course, one of the only way was to go and see the games live, which wasn't my case because in the south of Italy, football is way less developed than in the north. So I know that there were 2 federations for a while, and none of them was official because when we didn't actually have, from what I know, a proper ban like the one that you had in England, but it was very discouraged. So it kept going some way off the radar for not during the war, but just after the war. It was somehow played, but very, very, very amateur way. And then during the 68, during the social movements of women's rights, they started to develop some system, but it took a very long time for an official and unified league to be found. But this is basically all the information that I have, because I have a book which is this big about all the history, but it's in my plan to go through it. But yeah, the problem is that now we often say that it's very frustrating to follow women football because of the lack of information that are still there at the moment. But back then was really a mission to be informed about it.
No, I mean, exactly that. And I think Emma's pretty much hit the nail on the head there. It sounds like it's been a bit of a slow build for the league in Italy, which is fair enough. And I mean, I was intrigued. I looked at the coefficient. Italy is seen as the 5th best league out of all of them at the moment, just behind France, Spain, Germany, and England. So it's still within the top 5, which is pretty good. Scotland, by the way, were 20th, if anyone's interested in that, since we looked at them last week. Now, Freya, time for you to be tested a little bit. Do you know which Serie A football team has, well, not anymore, they're not, has won the Serie A the most times?
Juventus?
You see, you would think that, wouldn't you? Because they're right up there, but it's not. It's a team called Torres, which is very, very interesting. I've never heard of them before. They're from Sardinia, and they're currently in the Serie B.
Yes, it's not the same though. They sort of
the same one.
It's not the same. It has the same name, but it changed all the
That's outrageous.
the number. I don't know how it's called. The number of registration. You know, every team has a number that you register. Yeah.
There you go. Lots of changes, see, but they won it 7 times. But as you were just saying there, Juventus won it for 5 years on the trot. So Roma have won it the last 2.
Yeah.
That was the only time they won it. There was another team called Roma CF that won it in 1969. We won't go back there because that's in the book that Camilla's not got to yet. So maybe for another day, that one. But Juventus then won it for the 5 years before that. So as much as we're talking about a league where you could potentially see different champions based on the way that that's working, are we in a situation, again, you look at the 10 teams that make them up at the moment, there's 1, 2, half of them have won a Serie A title and the other half not so much yet. Obviously Fiorentina, Juventus, Lazio, AC Milan and Roma being the 5 that have won it. When I say those 5 names to you, if you take it just from the men's football side, you look at those names and think massive football teams. When you look at the 5 that haven't won it though, Como, Inter Milan, Napoli, Sampdoria, and this is where I go wrong again, Sassuolo. Yeah, close. I'm trying to do it for the English people there. Got it wrong. Never mind. 1 out of 2 is not bad. But when you start looking at those 10 teams, do you feel like you can already name what the top 5 is going to be and the bottom 5 are going to be? Or do you think there is some room within that league for there to be a little bit of wiggle room and maybe a team like Inter might jump in and a team like AC Milan might drop down?
Hey, we're with the results this weekend. Anything can happen. I think, yeah, it's always going to be the teams that have got the most money, have got the most investment, and that's what you see, and that's why Juve dominated for so long, and that's why, if you look at Roma's squad, you know, they're doing very, very impressive things. So the fact that Lazio have come up this season and they held Roma to a draw at the weekend, which no one saw coming, was absolutely phenomenal. So I think there's been a real push, again, from the outside. It looks like this season might be the start of something changing, and that some teams are coming through to shake things up, and it feels like the league's really building to this moment where it can be competitive, it can be more open, and we might see a very different top 5 than we did last season. So yeah, we've had manager changes, we've had players coming in and out, some really big names coming in, some questionable ones, but that's for a different time. But yeah, it feels like this could be it. This could be the tipping point of going forward.
We do like a tipping point. One of my best quizzes that I think I've ever seen on
I told you I've been on there.
Have you been on Tipping Point?
Yeah.
Behave. Did you win?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. Got through the final.
Google this now. On Tipping Point.
It's a quiz show, Camilla. It's a big.
Is Ben Shepherd as nice as he seems?
Lovely. Gives the best hugs as well. He's good.
There you go. Completely forget about the football. Just start talking about Tipping Point. Why not? Yeah, we could go. What was I going to do? I was going to pull this one up. That's right, because Jonathan has just made a very good point here. He spoke about what Milan did with its pregnancy policy. You know, for those that are not quite sure what's going on, they've become the first club in Europe to guarantee contract renewals for players who become pregnant in the final year of their deals. They'll also receive help with childcare and expenses for their children as well, which is pretty good to be fair. you've meant, I saw you nodding on that one, Freya, as well. That's big, that really, isn't it? Because it's
That's
the type
phenomenal.
of thing at the top level that
Yeah.
hasn't really been said. But I suppose we haven't, from what I can recall, had a position so far for any women that are in the top tiers of football to have had a position where they found themselves pregnant in the last year of their deal. But it's just that knowledge you can if you want, and actually just allowing that freedom of choice and not have to be worrying that, oh, well, I can't do it now because if that happens I won't have a job and then we won't be able to afford it. It's just taking that worry away, and we want to see that more widespread across the whole of Europe, really, wouldn't we? And indeed the world.
Absolutely, because you wouldn't expect, in an average job to get pregnant and then lose your job. So why should it be any different in elite football? So yeah, it was phenomenal policy, and it should be the norm, really. Because I think before it was very much club to club, what support they put in players, but now with it being mandatory, it's a fantastic step forward for Milan. So yeah, well done to them. About
Absolutely. Time. And something, Camilla, that you think was obviously a good thing. There's not even a question really in that, but to become the first team in Europe to do that, and indeed the first league in Europe to think about doing that, is a bit of a trendsetter thing. So we're talking about a slow burn for the league, but in that respect, trendsetters.
Yeah, and it's funny, and I don't want any AC Milan supporter to hold it against me, but it's funny that it came from them because, actually, it shows that they are. I hope that is another signal that they are trying to actually commit to women football for good, because in the past years. There were a lot of hints that showed that they weren't really involved in women football. But last season they finally sacked the coach, and now the new coach from Ajax arrived, and she's a backer. She's really very, very good with the youngsters. So they actually showed that they have a really multi-year plan now, and with this, I think that is a very big signal that they care for real.
Yeah, I think absolutely. And Emma saying it's disgraceful that things like this weren't in place before.
Yeah.
I suppose, like I said, I can't think of one. I can't think of a moment where that's happened. It must have happened somewhere. It's a bit like when they say you can't have nuts on a plane. Somebody somewhere, or rather on the nuts it says, may contain nuts. And that's because somebody somewhere decided to open a bag of nuts knowing they were allergic to nuts. Which is nuts, to be honest. But that's why it needed it. That's the same reason why McDonald's put caution hot, because somebody spilled it and decided to get amazing. Anyway, I'm digressing again. Let's move on to players, because very intrigued by this one. Again, trying to do my research. Brazil's got Marta. You've got these players that can send. And I thought I'd throw out a couple of players in terms of top scorers who've been pretty amazing. You can nod if you've heard of them, but I'll be honest with you, I haven't. But they had some big ones. I went all the way back from in the 1970s. You've got someone, a good Italian, called, Elisabetta Vignotto.
Yes.
See, 156 goals in 4 seasons, if you please. That's mad. So, bit of a legend there. We also had from Denmark, Suzanne Augustusson, who was the top goal scorer 8 times in 13 years. Also from Italy, I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to put a bit of an inflection on this one. Carolina Maracci.
Yes.
Oh, Barry. She did it 11 times on the trot. She won it in 1985, and then from 1988 to 1998, just won it 11 years on the trot. Nobody got any more than her. And the last one from that one was Patricia Panico.
Patrizia.
Oh, so
close.
14 times. She shared it twice, but 14 times in 17 years between 1999 and 2015. So some big names there. The most recent ones, though, we're going to come to in a second. I'm just going to come to you first, Camilla, on that one. Are there any other big names in terms of perhaps older or less recent players who you would put up there, not necessarily on the same pedestal as Marta, but as people that have really been, because I've only gone about the scorers, they're the easiest ones to go and find. Maybe there's a goalkeeper, a midfielder, a defender, someone like that who's really helped to transcend and build the sport in Italy in the same way that Marta has in Brazil.
Sara Gama, definitely.
Yeah.
Sara Gama, absolutely. Yeah, she has been the captain of Italy national team for I don't know how many years, but I think more than 10. I don't remember how many. And she retired from the national team last winter or last spring. And she is still playing for Juventus. We don't know if this is going to be her last season, but most likely it will. And she really helped the development of women football, and especially the recognition of the rights of the players. And she was a huge part, actually, in a moment of transition that I forgot to mention earlier, but it was basically the turning point of Italian women football. It was when the federation introduced an obligation for all the men team to have a women youth section. And they also gave them the possibility to acquire the license of an already existing team in order for them to be competitive immediately without waiting for the youngsters to grow in that. So in this process, she was a very big part. And she was part of actually Fiorentina was the very first team that entered the women football with the women team, but Juventus followed the year later, and Sara Gama was there, and she has been the captain of Juventus since then. And she is, I think, I don't know if it's the first or one of the first, but I think it's the first woman to be part of the Italian Players Association. I don't know how to translate it. And yeah, she also has a big role in all the football politic. So they did a Barbie doll with her face and her Juventus suit. So she's definitely an icon in women football in Italy.
Brilliant. I'm still waiting for them to do a Barbie doll with me, so I can't wait for that one. That'll scare the kids right off when they're a ball Barbie. We don't need that. Freya, same sort of question for you, but I'd like it to go into the more modern day, because again, you look at the top goal scorers over the course of the last 4 years or so. It's interesting because you would imagine, with Roma having just won the last 2 and Juventus winning the 5 before, you generally tend to expect that you're going to see those people at the top of the goal scoring charts. That's actually happened 3 out of the last 5 years. So Cristiana Girelli, she was doing pretty well in 1920 and 2021. She was the top goal scorer there. But the season after, you had the Italian Daniela Sabatino. She scored 15 for Fiorentina. She was the top there. The season before last, you had the Malawian Tabitha Chiringa from Inter Milan. She had 23 goals scored there. Last year, just the 13 for Evelyn Wiens, who, of course, was in the marvellous Olympic Games that we saw this year as well from Canada. But I'm a newbie. So let's say this weekend, it won't be this weekend, I've got far too much football going on, but if it was this weekend and I was able to sit down and turn on the TV and watch the Serie A, what would be your top 3 players for me to be looking out for, and which teams would they be playing for?
What a question.
I know, right? It's like been rubbish questions all the way up to here, and I was like, bang, there you go, one, right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, with Roma, you're always going to get a performance. You're always going to get some technical skill. I mean, at the weekend, you've got Valentina Giacinti. Did I say that right, Camilla? Giacinti?
Giacinti, yeah.
Giacinti. See, there we go. Emma's after my own heart in the chat there. So you just have my own segment on Martina Piemonte. However, now playing for Lazio, she's there. Bakari, yes. You need to look out for Bakari as well. There's just too many. Even Linari, defender for Roma, a wonder strike in the 92nd minute at the weekend to bring them level back to 2-2. So honestly, the goals can come from anywhere. Yeah, Juventus in the chat there, Giuliano as well. Honestly, there are so many names to look out for.
Dragoni.
And Dragoni as well. Yeah, just transferred in from Barcelona. She's 17. Is she 17? But yeah, young superstar. Again with Roma. So yeah, if you want something definite, Roma. But honestly, you could pick any game, and you could see something really great.
Same question to you, Camilla, on that one. If you were to put out there 3 players that you think would be, I don't know, most likely to win a Ballon d'Or or to become the player of the year in Italy, where would those 3 players be coming from?
Up to a couple of years ago, I would have said Girelli, but I know that she is not playing that much anymore, but I think she's still a phenomenal player for the amount of games that she plays. But at the moment, like considering players in their prime, I think Giuliano, Cambiaghi from Inter, absolutely, and I don't know. I would say Caruso, but she didn't have the best season, but I am confident she just inherited the captain armband, so I think that this season she's gonna do
very good. I mean, Emma's brought up this one, of course. Alicia Lehmann went to Juventus, seems to be thriving. Try that one out there for you. Just taking a brief moment here just to address Emily, who has decided to really run with the Barry edition of Barbie. Absolutely, it would not be a Halloween edition. It would be in the reject pile. It would absolutely be in the wrong spot. But if you ever do this, then we should ensure that you are banned from all manner of our shows. That's outrageous behaviour and completely unnecessary. Right, I want to talk a little bit about this weekend because you've sort of come to it already, Freya, talking about some of the results. So we had Fiorentina defeating Napoli 1-0. We had Lazio and Roma drawing 2-2. Inter Milan beat Sampdoria 5-0. I'm going to say it wrong again. Sassuolo 3, Juventus 6, and Como 1, Milan 0. So some big results there. Talk to us. Which ones stood out for you in terms of the weekend?
So it was definitely the 2-2 Lazio Roma. No one was expecting that. I don't think Roma were either. You could tell the first 10-15 minutes they were like, what is happening? They've just been promoted. Why are they playing like this, and how are they playing like this? So that was, yeah, if anyone can watch those highlights and access them, please do. They were brilliant. I'll check my notes because I was good and I did a bit of research. I know Camilla's happy with the Inter win. 5-0. Yeah.
Not much because I know it's only the first game, but yeah.
Hey, it's up in the league now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fiorentina scraped the 1-0, but if you looked at like stats, they were all over them, and they just need to be a bit more assertive in the final third. Players we need to look out for. Oliviero for Lazio. She had a phenomenal game. She got 2 assists, 2 goals, 2 assists, which is on the assist side for Oliviero. So she's going to be brilliant this season. But yeah, Juventus 6-3. Sassuolo, I believe they were in the the top 5 last season. So they were always going to give Juve a bit of a battle. But yeah, the fact that Juventus had 6 different goal scorers for their 6-3 victory, including the lovely Alicia Lerman that we have just talked about. So yeah, honestly, it was a weekend that was filled with some phenomenal moments. But yeah, I'll let Camilla talk about Inter.
Well, indeed. I mean, again, same thing over to you there. What sort of results in particular were standing out for you? I mean, you just mentioned the top 5 there, Freya, with Sassuolo being in 4th position last year. Was that a match that you expected to see go to 6-3? You know, talk to us a bit about the weekend. What was your thoughts?
Well, of course, the less expected result was Lazio Roma, but honestly, yes, it was less expected because Lazio were playing against Roma. But if anyone paid attention to all the market movements that Lazio had during the summer, they built a very solid team. The message that they sent with the market that they did is that they are here to stay. So yes, it was a surprise because they were playing the champion, but honestly, I expected them to be good, but not this good. I think they can really aim to the first 5 position during the regular season if they keep going like this. I mean, if they, of course, the Lazio Roma is a derby, and it's always a different kind of games, a different kind of emotions. So we have to see how Lazio behave with other opponent. Derby can have specific motivations, but yeah, they just sent very, very important signals. But the other, actually, there was another one that I didn't expect, at least not in the way that happened. It was Como Milan, because Milan was, as I was saying, has been struggling for a while, and they had this new coach, Susan Bakker, who is very, very good, but they didn't buy enough players, especially in the midfield. So I didn't expect them to shine, but at the same time, I didn't expect the player that scored, that was playing in Serie C last season. So she just did the double jump from Serie C to Serie A, and felt like she has been playing in the Serie A her entire career. It was the way she played, coming from 2 tiers low, was just unbelievable.
Very good. There we go. See these people, the font of all knowledge. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to, again, Freya, get your thoughts on this one. Let me just grab the message. So Jonathan's come in and said, is the Italian league divided as WSL is, with the top 3 or 4 being so dominant and far ahead? I would agree with
even more.
But I think that 4th spot is definitely narrowing. Now, obviously, last season, as we were saying, Roma, I mean, they ran away with it really, 51 points to 43 in the end for Juventus in second. But the remainder of the 5 in the championship round were Fiorentina, Sassuolo, and Inter Milan. So you've got those 5 teams that were in the top 5. That was not very well put, but you get what I'm going at. Now, Roma and Juventus are the 2 that have won it the last 7 years. You would imagine that the smart money is on one of those 2 teams to be winning it again. But do you have an outsider? Is there another team there that you're looking at and going, maybe they might be the ones this season to break the monopoly?
Okay, everyone says Inter, but since I'm an Inter supporter, I don't want to jinx it, so I will never say it. But everyone says it because, to be honest, we're building a very solid, apparently a very solid team. But you will not hear anything else about this from me.
Freya, for you?
I'm gonna go for it. Lazio, dark horses, straight up, straight to the top. Done. Saying it now.
So just to put that into context, what we're saying here, this is a Lazio that won the Serie B last season, yes?
Yeah, just been promoted. Yeah.
Just been promoted.
Yeah.
Potential to win the Serie A.
Yeah. And you know why, right? You know when Bristol came up last season and they had the fire and the grit and they had exactly what they needed to like attempt to fight. Lazio have done that, but they've got the results, like they've got a point on the board already. So they're already doing better than a couple of teams. But I just genuinely think they've got something about them. So I mean, it probably won't, but they've got the exact spirit that I'd love a team to have to go and win it.
It's a fair point. And listen, we're talking about teams there that won it 5 times, the same amount as Juventus have. So, you know, they're not exactly unknown when it comes to winning the league. Now, I suppose the last sort of narrowing down of the conversation that I'd want to go down, I spoke a little bit earlier briefly about the coefficients and the fact that Italy's deemed within the top 5, but it's still emerging, hasn't quite hit the levels of France, Spain, Germany, and England. But because the top 7 teams, just to make that clear to you, the other 2 teams were Portugal and Sweden, and all of them get 3 teams put into the Women's Champions League. Obviously, that means that this season you've got Roma, Juventus, and Fiorentina going into the Women's Champions League, whether that be in qualifying rounds and such like. But this is the question. There's never been an Italian side that has won Women's Champions League. In fact, I think the furthest women's an Italian side has made it is to the semi-finals. So, with that in mind, can you see any of those 3 teams, or can you see the time coming when we can see an Italian side? I mean, let's be easy for the moment. Make it to the final of a showpiece event, because I've often heard Juventus mentioned as a side that you would expect to maybe get there. Roma obviously just breaking into it now. Can you see that happening any time within the next 5 years?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you both. Feel free to
not if Barca is still around. But yeah, aside from Barca,
somebody's got to play Barcelona, haven't they? And that's what I was guessing. There's a chance to get into the final.
Yeah, no, let's just pretend Barcelona is not a thing, because otherwise there is another level of conversation that we are supposed to have. I think among these 3, of course, the one that has more shot to do well this season and in the upcoming season is Roma at the moment. I probably would say an obvious thing, but the thing with Juventus is while Roma was improving that much, Juventus was also having a downgrade. So now this season they are really starting to rebuild. So I don't think that is a mature enough team that can compete, to be honest. And Fiorentina was doing very well in the first part of last season, but then at some point they crashed and no one understood what happened really. And they didn't change that much during the summer. That can be a good thing, but not necessarily. So we will see. They didn't impress me in the first game. So to be honest, they don't have a very easy qualification round as well. So for both, I don't want to say it because, of course, I want Italian football to shine as much as possible. But I don't see Juventus and Fiorentina having that many shots to get to the group stage this season, opposite to Rome that has a different path. And I don't want to say it, but just say it's more likely to happen.
There we go. Freya, can you see it happening?
I think if it's going to, I agree with Camilla. It's got to be Roma. They were so close last couple of seasons, and you can see that they're building, and that's their goal to get there and to keep moving forward. So definitely in the next couple of years, I can see them getting further. Maybe not to I don't know, but out of all of them, they've got the best shot. I think Juventus they very much want to be up there, and you can see they're starting to make moves, but if you're looking for that foundation that's already in place, then yeah, Roma, they're the only ones that can really push for it, in my humble opinion.
But there might also be another thing that from next season there is going to be the second European competition, which we don't know that much about yet. But I don't know if an Italian team can actually have a shot to win it. But I think it will be very important for more teams to develop European experience. So to have that kind of pressure to play that kind of games. So maybe with that helping in the process, in a few years, we can have more teams that can actually have that shot.
It's good that you brought that up, because it takes us really to, I suppose, the last real question of the evening, which is taking us all the way back round from your brilliant answer right at the very beginning of the show. We started talking a bit about what the teams are like at the moment in terms of sponsorship and not necessarily having too much money within there, not too many television rights, and of course the fact that they're not very independent necessarily of the men's teams at the moment, and sort of being bankrolled a little bit there. So Freya, just with you first of all for this one, what do you think? Because what we seem to be getting from this is that the Serie A is an emerging league. It's a good league. There's a lot of entertainment to be seen within it. But in terms of it being a powerhouse within Europe, still work to do. What do you see as being the next steps for the Serie A? What does it need to do next in order to continue going from strength to strength?
I think it's just exactly what Camilla said at the beginning. It's the investment. It's getting people involved. It's getting rid of all of the issues currently with maybe not seeing women's football as important as the men's football, to get rid of those barriers that are currently surrounding women's football in Italy, and making it accessible. I mean, at the moment, if you want to watch Italian football, like from the UK, from a UK perspective, and I know it's hard even in Italy to watch it, but you've got to have a VPN, because most matches are on either DAZN Italia or Rai Sports as well. They've been showing the matches, but DAZN UK, I think, had one match on, or maybe not even one, but they had the German matches on. So it's very much the disparity between what's available to actually watch, and even if you're just trying to get into it, if you don't know where to look, it's so hard to find. So it's that accessibility, and we're seeing that. I mean, even in England with Championship and lower, it's impossible to get stats. It's impossible to get any information. So yeah, it needs that funding, it needs that support, and that accessibility. And once you've got the fans, once you've got people coming in, you can generate an income and you can be viable. But until you allow people in, then it's going to be hard to maintain and grow.
It sounds interesting. I mean, Emma's talking about introducing men's football fans to the women's game as well. But Camilla, with this bit, Juventus 360 has said, and well done, because you kept up with me brilliantly, so good job. Facilities and stadiums. We haven't really had much of a chance. We did speak a little bit about that in the Scottish show that we did. But the stadiums that the ladies are using, we've seen, obviously, Barcelona and Real Madrid sell out. We've seen Arsenal sell out here in the WSL. What sort of stadiums are currently being used at the top level for the Serie A ladies? Are they using the home of the club, i.e. the men's stadiums? Are they still renting out? I'm very, very new on this one, so I've managed to research everything but the stadiums, unfortunately. but how is that working? And with that, what sort of attendances are we seeing? And again, is that part of the issue in terms of being able to be a standalone club, is that you need to have a good chunk of fans coming to watch in order to get that residual income coming in as on the regular?
Yeah, it's absolutely an issue, and well, stadium and facilities in Italy are not necessarily the best in the world, and is known even with men football, because a lot of Italian issues with bureaucracy and everything. When you want to do anything in Italy, it's 100 times more difficult than anywhere else in the world, I think, because of all the process that you have to go through. But no, we don't play. I have watched the part of the Scottish episode where you were discussing this, and I related very much with what they said about the stadium in the Scottish League. Is pretty much the same. We play in very small stadiums. Like Rome plays in a stadium that I think has 3,000 capability, and they just started last season after winning the championship the year before. They started to fill it, not every game, but for the game with Juventus or with AC Milan or with Inter, not even with Inter, honestly. Basically, only with Juventus they sell out it completely. So Rome is the team that has the highest attendance and has barely 3,000. So the other teams are they have an average. I mean, as Freya was saying, it's impossible to have reliable data. So the data that I am quoting are based on the people that I know that goes to the games, or my experience going to the games, and the discussion that I have with people. So they report the average of attendance that a team has. Basically depends, like a lower league team can have an average of I don't know 200-300, and an higher level can have like an average of 400, 500, but not even in every game. So that's definitely one of the things that needs to be fixed for the future. And I think that I don't know if of course the investment and everything that Freya was saying is definitely spot on, but I want to add also that maybe one very good tournament from the national team can help that, because we saw what happened in England with the Lionesses winning the Euros, and what was actually happening after the World Cup of France 2019, and then COVID happened and everything stopped, and we came back to almost to the point of where we were before. But I think that what national team does in big tournaments can really help with the in a way that investment and communication and all that stuff can take like 10 years. One very good tournament can make it in a summer, probably.
No, that sounds absolutely spot on, really. I think, again, it's been an incredible show in terms of learning all about the Serie A. Emily put it in here. Thank you so much for an amazing show, guys and girls. You all helped cheer me up, and I love learning about another league and having such awesome experts, as you both have been, to explain everything. And that is the whole point of it. We wanted to put a spotlight on a lot of the other leagues. It's very difficult to do that, but as you've just mentioned there, in terms of Italy, it is an emerging league and it has got a lot to do. I did have one last question for you, Camilla. How much would a ticket be if you wanted to go and watch a Serie A game? Roughly, what would be the average sort of amount you'd expect to spend?
That's interesting, because you would be surprised to know that I know it's a contradiction, but at the same time it's not. But not all the teams in Serie A charge for tickets. There are teams that don't charge for tickets. Like I think Rome started this season to charge for tickets, and they just did it last season during the Pool Scudetto. if I'm not wrong. Milan charged, Inter doesn't. Juventus, to be honest, I don't know in the new field, but the one that they had up to a couple of years ago, they did not. Sassuolo, I don't know, but the one that you pay the most in Serie A is around 10 euros, but the average, if they charge, is around 5 or 7. I know it's crazy, and also the fact that Serie A doesn't sell TV broadcast rights abroad is unbelievable. You have just a few way to make money, and you don't take advantage of them. For the tickets, I may understand, because if they charge, they struggle to bring people to the stadium, even if they don't charge. So
Yeah.
I can understand that, but it took Roma a few years to do it, and they just started. They are just in the process to start that now that they have a very solid base. But yeah, that's also an issue, definitely.
So it's very interesting. I mean, I work for a tier 5 side in England, in Stevenage, and it's very, very interesting because even at our level, we'll charge for people to come and watch the game because we're hiring out a pitch. So even if we're not making the money of the entirety of hiring that pitch, it gives us a little bit back so that we're not paying out a ridiculous amount. And we'll maybe get like 75 people if you're lucky, 150, depending on the type of game that it is. For those of you, of course, that are not Italian, a €10 ticket would be £8.42 currently, meaning a €5 one would only be about £4.20, which is quite a bit. But then, of course, €0 is also £0, and that has blown my mind ever so slightly. But I think when we're talking about needing to get money into the game, you can kind of see where that needs to happen. But it sounds almost like Italy have just done a DAZN, haven't they, really? Which is, let's try and get the interest in the game and get a fan base, as you said, that they can build on. But yeah, wow, amazing. Guys, I genuinely, I've really loved it. I really enjoyed the Scottish one a couple of weeks ago. I've loved this one as well. I feel like I know a little bit more about it. And this is really helpful for me. And of course, lots of other people that are watching and learning. Freya, you've done your shout outs before, but if people wanted to know all about what the things that you write, I know that you do a lot to do with the WSL, but if people wanted to hear some of your Serie A stuff as well, whereabouts could they find you, and where would you put such nonsense?
Nonsense, exactly. I'm everywhere. I always pop up. But yeah, I'm at T Freya T Writes across all socials, or you can find me talking about Villa at the Hull 115 Yards as well. So come check me out.
Very good. I don't know if they were English, they would moan incessantly about the fact that they now had to pay. But there would be a good bulk that probably would. I don't know if they're enjoying it and they love it and they want to see their team grow. You'd think they might. Camilla, obviously your first time on the channel. Really loved having you on. I'm sure let's get you back on a bit later on in the season as well, once we're a bit further into the Serie A, so we can discuss all of those things that are happening and see what is going on. But again, if people wanted to find some of your work and the things that you're doing, where could people find you? Anything you want to shout out? Now's your time to do it.
Yeah, it's the same game.it. There is some sort of index with all my social media, Instagram and YouTube and the rest of it.
There we go. So there we go. What have we learned today? Lots of things. That Italy is just Scotland in disguise. That seems to be the first thing that we've learned. The second thing that we've learned is how to say Sassuolo. And the third thing that we've learned is that Italy is a merging league, and it is going to be incredible to see how that grows into a true top 5 women's league. I can't wait. It's going to be superb. We think Roma are going to win the league. It could also be Lazio, allegedly.
Hey.
Who knows? Stranger things have happened. It's football after all. And let's be honest, that's why we love it. When are we going to be back? Wednesday, there's another Lower League Lingo show. Get yourself on there at 7 o'clock. That's going to be awesome. We're on to episode 3 of that. That's where we talk about everything at the moment from the WNL and down. So come and have a chat with me and the boys on that one. The week after, we're going to do that live. So feel free to come and join us then if you'd like to. And And I'm sure Connor and the rest will be back. Hopefully we'll all be back again next Monday. We'll see. It depends whether we've been dragged off air or not. But it's been superb. Cheers, Freya. Thank you, Camilla. Thank you, everyone in the chat. You've been superb. And we will see you next time.